Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Indie Zone. My name is Kathy. I wanted to call your attention to document number 73 of the documents that have been released by the City of Moscow concerning hundreds of pages of documents from the Moscow Police Department's investigative files relative to their investigation into the crimes at 1122 King Road, which occurred on November 13th, 2022. This is a narrative that was prepared by Detective Brett Payne, who is, of course, the lead detective in the case. It is dated the 13th of December, 2022, and it describes incidents that occurred that he was involved in November of 2022. And if you look at paragraph 2 here, there is evidence that is associated with this report. Items 261, 262, 263, 264. These are swabs, which are described as you see here. And it indicates under the narrative section that on November 23rd, 2022, I applied for and was granted a search warrant for blank Queen Road, blank, the residence of J.S. The warrant was based off the following information. And this document continues, paragraph 2. Officer House and I responded to blank Queen Road at approximately 10,000 hours on November 15th, 2022. We walked on the common walkway in front of the door to S apartment and observed the exterior of the door. Goes on to say that in the next paragraph, I met back up with Officer House and Detective Powell a short time later, and they told me they believed the spot of dried fluid on the door displayed similar characteristics to that of dried red fluid. Namely, Detective Powell stated the spot displayed a cracking texture, common when this liquid dries on a surface. Note the next sentence, ladies and gentlemen. The spot also displayed a similar drop pattern to the spots found on the Bannister wall and the wall on the stairwell to the ground floor, which I observed inside 1122 King Road. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this appears to be new information, not just the comparison of what was seen at this apartment in the Queen Road apartment complex, but the comparison that Detective Payne is making here to spots on not just the banister at 1122, which we learned about in the case, but also on the wall near the stairwell to the ground floor. So this is new information that there was not just apparently liquid on the banister itself, but also on the wall nearby this banister, apparently. If we go on, page 2, there's some background here. On November 23rd, 2022, Officer Morris was contacted by J.S., a maintenance worker for blank, which manages blank Queen Road. S told Officer Morris he conducted a routine maintenance order on blank Queen Road on November 22nd, 2022, wherein he discovered something of note. I had Officer Morris call S and place him on speakerphone so I could talk to him. I asked S to tell me what he found. S told me he and another maintenance worker entered the apartment on November 22nd, 2022 in order to check on a water quality complaint made by the tenant. Both men checked the kitchen and did not notice any issues. S said he entered the only bathroom in the residence and began to inspect the drain when the other maintenance worker advised there appeared to be this red liquid on the shower curtain. S said he looked and discovered what appeared to be 2 sample smudge marks on the shower curtain, which appeared to be dried red liquid. S described the smudges as 1 inch by 1 inch. S then said he noticed another smudge of what appeared to be dried red liquid on the toilet flusher handle. S said there appeared to be splatter of dried red liquid near the light switch on the interior wall of the bathroom. I asked S to describe the marks. He told me they appeared to be reddish, brown in color. S added, I've seen dried red stuff before, and the marks appeared to be similar to that. I served a search warrant with ISP investigators. We discovered the red smears and spots in the location S described. In addition, there was more spatter spots on the wall in the entryway to the living room. Samples of each were collected, 94 in total, and ISP Detective Talbot took photos of the residence. Upon completion, I left the required paperwork on the couch in the living room, and Detective Talbot took a photo of it. All units cleared without further incidents. The search warrant was returned December 4th, 2024. This is signed by Corporal Brett Payne and reviewed by Corporal Corbin Smith. He was one of the first responders, ladies and gentlemen, Officer Smith. Now, none of the evidence here that's described what these stains yielded, if they were compared to any stains within 1122 King Road or not. But what I wanted to call your attention to is that while all of this was going on, even before the warrant was returned, the Moscow Police Department submitted a press release on November 30th, 2022, as they did periodically throughout their investigation up to the time of Mr. Koberger's arrest on the 30th of December. And they described that at this time in the investigation, November 30th, 2022, detectives do not believe the following are involved in this crime. 1, the 2 surviving roommates. 2, the male in the grub truck surveillance video. 3, the private driver who took Kaylee and Madison home on November 13th. 4, the male Kaylee and Madison called numerous times during the early morning hours of November 13th. Or 5, any individual at the residence when 911 was called. I'm going to give an opinion as I give under the First Amendment. When I saw this, I thought it was rather quick, knowing nothing further other than this was a mass unaliving. As this says here, this press release, currently no suspects are in custody and no weapon had been located. It was described as a messy scene. There was undoubtedly a lot of evidence to go through, a lot of interviews, a lot of investigation to be conducted, and I wondered to myself, how possibly could people be cleared this quickly in the investigation? If you have any comments, any thoughts, any feedback, please leave it here. Until next time, this is Kathy. Thank you for joining us here today.